President.
Yeah!
For the families
victims,
of
yeah.
David, James,
Amazing.
and Corey, including from a friend of mine, just hold up, sent me a check right here. I just got it. $1 million. Incredible victory, and we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country.
Yes, we will, Mr. President.
Together we will
Let's go.
launch a new era of safety, prosperity, and freedom for some of us. Bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny. We rise together or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America, because there is no victory in winning for half of America.
Very
So
unifying.
tonight, with faith and devotion, I proudly accept your nomination for president.
Yeah! Left blown out. Oh, man. Where's Liz Cheney? Where's Nancy Pelosi? They worked so hard to stop this. Hey, Fannie Willis, what do you think about that, Tish James? What's George Conway doing? Someone check on him and his dogs. Let's go, baby. We are ready.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And we will do it right. Let me begin this evening by expressing my gratitude to the American people for your outpouring of love and support following the assassination attempt at my rally on Saturday.
We're glad you made it, sir. This speech almost didn't happen. We were like
As
1
you
millimeter
already know,
away.
the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life. So many
Sheesh.
people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened, please. And therefore I will tell you exactly what happened, and you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell. It was a warm, beautiful day in the early evening in Butler Township in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Music was loudly playing and the campaign was doing really well. I went to the stage and the crowd was cheering wildly. Everybody was happy. I began speaking very strongly, powerfully, and happily because I was discussing the great job my administration did on immigration at the southern border. We were very proud of it.
Trump is
Behind me
changed.
and to the right was a large screen that was displaying a chart of border crossings under my leadership. The numbers were absolutely amazing. In order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right and was ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm very lucky I didn't do, when I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard on my right ear. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet, and moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place. I immediately knew it was very serious, that we were under attack, and in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did. They rushed to the stage.
You can hear a pin drop when he's telling this story.
These are great people at great risk, I will tell you, and pounced on top of me so that I would be protected. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet in a certain way I felt very safe because I had God on my side. The amazing thing is that prior to the shot, if I had not moved my head at that very last instant, the assassin's bullet would have perfectly hit its mark, and I would not be here tonight.
No.
We would not be together.
Nope.
The most incredible aspect of what took place on that terrible evening in the fading sun was actually seen later. In almost all cases, as you probably know, and when even a single bullet is fired, just a single bullet, and we had many bullets that were being fired, crowds run for the exits or stampede, but not in this case. Very unusual.
They did not want him
This
here.
massive crowd of tens of thousands of people stood by and didn't move an inch. In fact, many of them bravely but automatically stood up looking for where the sniper would be. They knew immediately it was a sniper. And then began pointing at him. You can see that if you look at the group behind him. It was just a small group compared to what was in front. Nobody ran, and by not stampeding, many lives were saved. But that isn't the reason that they didn't move. The reason is that they knew I was in very serious trouble. They saw my son go down. They saw the blood and thought actually most. They saw the blood. Now, there's an interesting statistic. The ears are the bloodiest part. If something happens with the ears, they bleed more than any other part of the body.
Very quickly.
For whatever reason, the doctors told me that night, said, why is there so much blood? I said, it's the ears that bleed were flying over us, yet I felt serene. But now the Secret Service agents were putting themselves in peril. They were in very dangerous territory. Bullets were flying right over them, missing them by a very small amount of inches. And then it all stopped. Our Secret Service sniper, from a much greater distance, but with only one bullet used, took the assassin's life. Took him out. I'm not supposed to be here tonight.
They wanted an open forum convention so they could vote for someone else.
Thank you, but I'm not. And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God.
Amen.
In watching the reports over the last few days, many people would say it was a providential moment. Probably was. When I rose surrounded by Secret Service, the crowd was confused because they thought I was dead, and there was great, great sorrow. I could see that on their faces as I looked out. They didn't know I was looking out. They thought it was over, but I could see it. I wanted to do something to let them know I was okay. I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting, and started shouting, "Fight, fight, fight." Once my clenched fist went up and it was high into the air, you've all seen that, the crowd realized I was okay and roared with pride for our country like no crowd I have ever heard before. For the rest of my life, I will be grateful for the love shown by that giant audience of patriots that stood bravely on that fateful evening in Pennsylvania. Tragically, the shooter claimed the life of our fellow Americans. Corey Comparator, unbelievable person, everybody tells me. And seriously wounded, two other great warriors. I spoke to them today. David Dutch and James Copenhaver.
Shout out
Two great people.
to our two wounded
all
allies.
three families of these tremendous people. Our love and prayers are with them and always will be. We're never going to forget them. They came for a great rally. They were serious Trumpsters, I want to tell you. They were serious Trumpsters and still are. But Corey, unfortunately, we have to use the past tense here to say that. He was a highly respected former fire chief, respected by everybody.
Yeah.
Was accompanied by his wife, Helen, incredible woman I spoke to today, devastated, and two precious daughters. He lost his life selflessly acting as a human shield to protect them from flying bullets. He went right over the top of them and was hit.
Hero.
What a fine man he was.
Trump's walking over to the firefighter outfit, Comparator, for Corey. We're going to give you a little hug and a kiss. In honor, in tribute to Corey. Rest in peace, brother.
I want to thank the fire department and the family for sending his helmet, his outfit, and it was just something that they're going to do something very special when they get it. But we did something which cannot match what happened, not even close. But I am very proud to say that over the past few days, we've raised $6.3 million
Wow.
for the families
victims.
of
Yep.
David, James,
Amazing.
and Corey, including from a friend of mine. Just hold up, sent me a check right here. I just got it. $1 million.
Whoa!
From Dan Newland. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. Shout out to Dan Newland, man. That's a big super chat, brother. Thank you, Dan.
Dan wouldn't speak to the family. I told them, I said, well, very much what you're doing, but nothing can take the place in the case of Corey and the other two. By the way, they were very, very seriously injured, but now they're doing very well. They're going to be okay. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for others. This is the spirit that forged America in the darkest hours, and this is the love that will lead America back to the summit of human achievement and greatness. This is what we need. Despite such a heinous attack, we unite this evening more determined than ever. I am more determined than ever. And so are you. So is everybody.
Let's go, baby.
Our resolve is unbroken and our purpose is unchanged to deliver a government that serves the American people better than ever before. Nothing will stop me in this mission because our vision is righteous and our cause is pure. No matter what obstacle comes our way, we will not break, we will not bend, we will not back down, and I will never stop fighting for you, your family, and our magnificent country.
Amazing. Thank you, Mr. President.
And everything I have to give with all of the energy and fight in my heart and soul, I pledge to our nation tonight. Thank you very much. I pledge that to our nation. I'm going to turn our nation around, and we're going to do it very quickly. Thank you. This election should be about the issues facing our country and how to make America successful, safe, free, and great again. In an age when our politics too often divide us, now is the time to remember that we are all fellow citizens. We are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we must not criminalize dissent or demonize political disagreement, which is
Right.
what's been happening
Yes.
in our country lately at a level that nobody has ever seen before. In that spirit, the Democrat Party should immediately stop weaponizing the justice system and labeling their political opponent as an enemy of democracy.
They've got nothing else.
Especially since that is not true. In fact, I am the one saving democracy for the people of our country.
That's right. Return to norm.
And very big news, as you probably know, on Monday a major ruling was handed down from a highly respected federal judge in Florida,
Eileen Cannon,
finding that the prosecutor and the fake documents case against me were totally unconstitutional, and the
Nice.
entire case was thrown out of court.
Good. Case
The
dismissed.
Democrats want to unify our country. They should drop these partisan witch hunts, which I have been going through for approximately 8 years. And
Good.
they should do that without delay and allow an election to proceed that is worthy of our people. We're going to win it anyway.
He's addressing the felony stuff head on, just
On
directly.
this journey, I am deeply honored to be joined by my amazing wife, Melania.
Yeah, we love Melania. What's up, Melania in the house? Yeah.
And Melania, thank you very much.
Classy lady.
You also
Classy.
did something really beautiful, a letter to America calling for national unity, and it really took the Republican Party by surprise. I will tell you, it was beautiful. In fact, some very serious people said that we should
Amazing. It was amazing.
take that letter and put it as part of the Republican platform. That would be an honor.
It was a good letter.
Right?
It was above
As
the fray.
congressman, but it captivated so many. So I also want to thank my entire family for being here. Don, Kimberly, Ivanka and Jared, Eric and Lara, Tiffany and Michael, Barron. I love our Barron.
Yeah, Baron. Look at the family, man. What a great family.
And of course, my 10 wonderful grandchildren. You saw a few of them up there on my lap before. And how good was Dana? Was Dana good? Was he good?
Amazing. Yeah, he was great.
You know, he was on probably the only vacation he's had about maybe ever. Maybe works, but about 10 years with his wife, very far away. I won't tell you where, but very, very far. My beautiful place. And my people called and he said, "Yeah, I won't be able to do it. This is many, many years. I promised my wife I can't do it." And they came in. They said Dana won't be able to do it because he was my first, second, and third choice. I said, "Well, you know, that's too bad, but I understand he's away. And it's good for him." And that was it. About 30 minutes later, she came back in. "Sir, Dana just called. He's going to do it."
Heck yeah.
And his wife, she said, "You can't turn him down. You just can't do it. You have to go." That's
Of course.
a good wife.
Of course, yeah, you have to.
So he got on a plane. He got here a little while ago. Now he's going to get on the plane in a little while. And he's going to go back home to his wife.
That's a great husband.
And I just want to thank her and him and their whole family. 'Cause
Great
it's
husband, too.
easy. And Kid Rock, same thing. Called. He said, "I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part." Because, you know, Kid does this great song, big monster song. I had no idea. You know, he became a friend of mine over the last 10 years. And he's amazing. Everyone loves him. I didn't even know how big he was. You know, he has rallies, 35, 40,000 people he gets every time he goes out. I think he's making so much money, he doesn't know what the hell to do with it. And then we have my other friend that I've known him so long, and we took that song, and it was a big success, but we made that. I saw a chart of great songs to America. That was number 1 on the chart recently. Number 1.
Number one, there's something happening, Mr. President.
That's Lee Greenwood, very special.
Everybody wants to
beautiful
jump
person. He's
in.
a beautiful man, but they all wanted to be here. They called him. And how about the Hulkster? How good was he? Boy, oh boy. You know, they may call it entertainment. I know about entertainment, but when he used to lift a 350-pound man over his shoulders and then bench press him 2 rows into the audience, I say maybe entertainment, but he is one strong son of a gun.
Yeah, he's a big
I
dude,
watched
man.
him many times. There aren't a lot of entertainers that can do that, right? You were fantastic. Thank you very much. Followed by Eric. What was that all about? Boy, that was good. I didn't want to really come up here.
He loves you, Dad.
But he was so great, and he's such a good young man. He went through a lot of trouble, and Don last night was incredible. They went through so much trouble. They got subpoenaed more than any people probably in the history of the United States.
Yeah, they
Every
did.
week
They went
get
after the whole
another
family.
subpoena from the Democrats, crazy Nancy Pelosi, the whole thing. Just boom, boom, boom. They've got to stop that because they're destroying our country. We have to work on making America great again, not on beating people. And we won. We beat them in all. We beat them on the impeachments. We beat them on indictments. We beat them. But the time that you
On
have to
raids,
spend,
everything.
if they would devote that genius to helping our country, we'd have a much stronger and better country.
That's right.
Biggest star in country music, Jason. Thank you for being here, Jason. Thank you very much, Jason Aldean. He's good. I like his wife even better, by the way. she said. Thank you, Jason. But I'm thrilled to have a new friend and partner fighting by my side. The next Vice President of the United States, the current Senator from Ohio, J.D. Vance, and his incredible wife, Usha.
What's up, JD? Welcome aboard, brother.
He's going to be a great Vice President. He's going to be great with this country and with this movement, greatest movement in the history of our country, Make America Great Again. When they criticized it, they said, we're going to try and stop MAGA. I said, MAGA is making America
Dirty!
great. What are you going to stop? There's nothing to stop. Then they say, oh, that's right. It's very tough to fight it.
Yeah, it's tough to fight. Gonna make
And
America
all
worse?
of the people that did try and fight it have failed. And he's going to be with us for a long time. And it was an honor to select him. Great student.
Yeah, he did keep going.
They met it. Yeah, these are two smart people.
These are just some of the
JD,
highlights
you're
that
gonna be
Robert
with us
Gouveia is
for a long
playing.
time. Enjoy the ride. And a very special thank you to the extraordinary people of Milwaukee and the great state of, there they are. You are so easy to spot. And Green Bay's going to have a good team this year, right? They're going to have a good team. Most of the audience doesn't like it, but it's true. You're going to have a very good team this year. And by the way, Wisconsin, we are spending over $250 million here creating jobs and other economic development all over the place. They're going to get all of this stuff. They're going to get it really fast. And
moron.
what's happened is we're saving thousands.
She's gonna pass this
thousands
car,
of
too.
lives.
And
It's
double yellow.
incredible. Right to try. It's a great feeling. Under our leadership, the United States will be respected again. No nation will question our power. No enemy will. Doubt
Oh, I was
our
going
might.
to,
Our borders will be totally secure.
here.
Our economy will soar. We will return
Did I send
law
that
and
already?
order to our streets, patriotism to our schools, and importantly, we will restore peace, stability, and harmony. To achieve this future, we must first rescue our nation from failed and even incompetent leadership. We have totally incompetent leadership. This will be the most important election in the history of our country. Under the current administration, we are indeed a nation in
didn't yet.
decline. We have an inflation crisis that is making life unaffordable, ravaging the incomes of working and low-income families, and crushing, just simply crushing our people like never before. They've never seen anything like it. We also have an illegal immigration crisis, and it's taking place right now as we sit here in this beautiful arena. It's a massive invasion at our southern border that has spread misery, crime, poverty, disease, and destruction to communities all across our land. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Then there's an international crisis, the likes of which the world has seldom been part of. Nobody can believe what's happening. War is now raging in Europe, in the Middle East. A growing
Finally got that,
specter of conflict hangs
those
over
clips, the
Taiwan,
interior and the
Korea,
exterior
Philippines, all
clips
of Asia, and our planet is
pulled off of my dash cam
This will be a war
of
like
us getting
no
pulled
other
over
because of
when we were heading to the concert last
no
weekend.
longer army tanks going back and
I just
forth.
uploaded it to
shooting These
Telegram.
weapons are obliteration.
Different
It's time
times.
for a change. This is
Jesus.
close to solving the problems. We're dealing with very tough, very fierce.
Guy keeps
people,
trying to
fierce
looking
people.
like
We
he's
don't
gonna
have
try and
fierce
pass,
people.
but
We
dude,
have
there's
people
traffic
that
in
are
front of him
less than
too.
Fierce, except when it comes to cheating
Guy's a
on
moron,
elections
man.
and a couple of other things. And they're fierce.
Driving like
Yeah,
an
rigging
idiot.
insurrections.
So tonight, I make this pledge to the great people of America. I will end the devastating inflation crisis immediately, bring down interest rates, and lower the cost of energy. We will
You're gonna fucking tailgate like a motherfucker.
Let's go.
Large-scale decline in prices. Prices will start to come down. Energy raised it. They took our energy policies and destroyed them. Then they immediately went back to them, but by that time, so much was lost. But we will do it at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We'll end lots of different things. We'll start paying off debt and start lowering taxes even further. We gave you the largest tax cut. We'll do it more. You know, people don't realize I brought taxes way down, way down. And yet we took in more revenues the following year than we did when the tax rate was much higher. Most
Yep.
people said, how did you do that? Because it was incentive. Everybody
Yes.
was coming to the country. They were bringing back billions and billions of dollars into our country. The companies made it impossible to bring it back. The tax rate was too high, and the legal complications were far too great. I changed both of them, and hundreds of billions of dollars by Apple and so many other companies were brought back into our nation. And we had an economy the likes of which no nation had ever seen. China, we were beating them at levels that were incredible. And they know it. We'll do it again, but we'll do it even better. I will end the illegal immigration crisis by closing our border and finishing the wall. Most most of which I've already built. On the wall, we were dealing with a very difficult Congress, and I said, oh, that's okay, we won't go to Congress. I call it an invasion. We gave our military almost $800 billion. I said, I'm going to take a little of that money because this is an invasion. We built most of the wall is already built, and we built it through using the funds, because what's better than that? We have to stop the invasion into our country that's killing hundreds of thousands of people a year. We're not going to let that happen. I will end every single international crisis that the current administration has created, including the horrible war with Russia and Ukraine, which would have never happened if I was president.
That's true.
And the war caused by the attack on Israel, which would have never happened if I was president. Iran was broke. Iran had no money. Now Iran has $250 billion. They made it all over the last 2.5 years.
Idiots.
They were broke. I watched the other day on a show called Deface the Nation. Has anyone seen that? And they had a congressman who was a Democrat say, well, whether you like him or not, Iran was broke dealing with Trump. I told China and other countries, if you buy from Iran, we will not let you do any business in this country, and we will put tariffs on every product you do send in of 100% or more.
So you get some stuff done,
And
yeah.
they said to me, well, I think that's about it. They weren't going to buy any oil.
Take care of
They
business.
won't let that happen again. The election result, we're never going to let that happen again.
Rigged.
They used COVID to cheat.
They did.
We're never going to let it happen again.
They did.
And they took off all the sanctions, and they did everything possible for Iran. And now Iran is very close to having a nuclear weapon, which would have never happened. This is a shame. What this is, say it often. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States, think of it, the 10 worst, added them up, they will not have done the damage that Biden has done. I'm only going to use the term once, Biden. I'm not going to use the name anyone.
And the weapons.
A thing called common sense, making most of our decisions, actually. It's all common sense. Just a in the history of the world. We had the greatest economy. In the history of the world, we had never done anything like it. We were beating every country, including China, by leaps and bounds. Nobody had seen anything like it. We had no inflation, soaring incomes were going. Nobody can believe it. You can't believe what happened 4 years ago is happening now in reverse. And the world was at peace. Inflation has been a killer for our country. No matter what you make it, it doesn't matter, because inflation is eating you alive. People that were
That's
putting away
right.
money, they were making great wages, the highest they've ever made, but they were putting away a lot of money. Now they are just being destroyed. They're not putting away anything. They're barely living. They're going into savings accounts. They're taking out their money to live because of inflation. Inflation, remember, it's called a country buster. You can go back to Germany
Yes.
100 years ago. You can go back to any country that suffered great inflation. We've suffered
All the way
worst
back to Rome.
inflation we've ever had. But go back and see what's happened to those countries. We've had the worst inflation we've ever had under this person. But in less than 4 years, our opponents have turned incredible.
Lucky Laptop
success
News. Good to see you, buddy.
Tragedy and failure. It's been a tremendous failure. Today, our cities are flooded with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force, and their jobs are taken. By the way, you know who's taking the jobs that are created? 107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens. And you know who's being hurt the most by millions of people pouring into our country? The black population and the Hispanic population, because they're taking the jobs from our black population, our Hispanic population, and they're also taking them from unions. The unions are suffering because of it. Inflation has wiped out the life savings of our citizens and forced the middle class into a state of depression and despair. That's what it is. It's despair and depression. We cannot and will not let this continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. Every disaster we are now enduring will be fixed, and it will be fixed very, very quickly. So tonight, whether you've supported me in the past or not, I hope you will support me in the future, because I will bring back the American dream. That's what we're going to do. You don't even
Let's
hear about
go,
it.
Mr. President.
With great humility, I
Oh,
will
what?
ask
H.
you
Fred.
to be excited
I'm from-
about the future of our country.
I live in Ohio, but I'm a
We
Detroit
want to get
fan.
it back
So
on track. We're
once
sick
again,
of what the Democrats have
Detroit is-
done over these last 4
And
years.
by the way, the news
it's definitely going to keep Green Bay pinned down. And your message didn't come across the streaming app.
Convention of either party that they've ever seen.
Yeah, it's
I'm
crazy.
missing half the
Ben
chat here.
Jones is freaking out. He's like, I've never seen anything like this, man. It's like Obama.
Hey, Midwest.
And there's love in the room. There's great love in the room.
Look at the crowd, man. Beautiful.
So I better finish strong, otherwise we'll blow it, and we can't let that happen. This was great. All of the great people that spoke, everybody in a home run.
Fucking app suck.
One that I can think of where I said, oh, gee, that wasn't.
I didn't even see H Red.
That's good, man.
I refuse
Welcome
to be
there,
the
bud.
only one. Don't do that to me. They're already getting ready. See, I gave them an idea. This was a great convention. I think we're actually going to go home and miss it. You know, usually with a first of all, look at these crowds. You never have this at a convention.
It's amazing. Tons of people. Great energy. You can feel it through the inner tubes, man.
Love. It's about love. This week, the entire Republican Party has formally adopted an agenda for America's renewal, and we saw that agenda. And it's very short compared to the long, boring, meaningless agendas.
I guess he's not in a hurry anymore.
So these things that are hundreds of pages long, and they never read them after they're. In their case, fortunately, they don't read them because they're pretty bad. It's a series of bold promises that we will swiftly implement when you give us a Republican
Low
House.
standards.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. We have our great Speaker of the House with us tonight. Thank you very much. A Republican Senate. We have many senators here. And send me back to our beautiful White House just a death and stare down those enemies to keep alive the flame of freedom. At Yorktown, Gettysburg, and Midway, they joined the roll call of immortal heroes. So many heroes, just so many heroes, so many great, great people. And we have to cherish those people. We can't forget those
Jesus
people.
Christ, this guy almost fucking rear-ended me. It's the same guy that fucking passed.
To those great people is a good thing.
Crazy, look how close he is.
Remember our forefathers, yeah.
Challenge was too much. No hardship was too great. No enemy was too fierce. Together these patriots soldiered on, endured, and they prevailed. They had faith in each other, faith in their country, and above all, they had faith in their God. Just like our ancestors, we must now come together, rise above past difference, glorious destiny, and we will not fail. Together we will save this country. We will restore the republic, and we will usher in the rich and wonderful tomorrow. We'll be bigger, better, bolder, brighter, happier, stronger. And quite simply put, we will very quickly make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Wisconsin. God bless you. God bless the United States of America, our great country. Thank you very much, everybody.
Because it is day 4.
Yeah.
To come out and to speak, to accept the nomination.
Radiant face has been perhaps the favourite one. This is a brilliant conversation talking about faith and politics, what it's like to be someone who's like from full-on Republican background and how he feels about this iteration and expression of the Republican movement, as well as obviously recent events around Donald Trump. Stay with us. The first 15 minutes will be on YouTube. After that, exclusively on Rumble. Hope you enjoy it. Hello, welcome to the show. Welcome to Stay Free with Russell Brand. I'm here with Benny Johnson today. Benny's so professional. He even knows he's got a single. He's making eye contact there right now. It's lovely to see you.
So good.
I loved our conversation yesterday, and I'm glad to hear that it did well on your pages. Forgive the environment. We're in a live environment full of excitement. Dan Bongino's just inches from my face. It's quite intimidating when Dan Bongino's over there for a number of reasons. Do you want me to list them?
Please, please.
Firstly, he's physically intimidating. Like he's got that sort of,
Yes.
like sort of, I don't want to use any words that are condemnatory, but he's got a lot of power in him, and he's Dan Bongino. Secondly, you get the sense that Dan Bongino can murder you whenever he wants to, like it's a matter of choice for Dan Bongino. And thirdly, his stream gets like so many views, so I'm all the time sort of thinking, I feel like I'm sort of rattling a tin cup, like while he's like running a proper business, you know?
He looks like central casting. Now, I've never starred in any Hollywood movies, unlike our wonderful host.
I
But he
think
looks
it's
like
only a matter
central
of time,
casting.
Benny.
If they needed a They needed a Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel is what? Okay, so if you're looking for a Dan Bongino in real life, like the movie equivalent would be Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel would be Dan Bongino's body double.
Yeah.
In Fast and Furious 12.
I noticed that you were quite fascinated that Jonathan Rumi, our Lord and Saviour in the program The Chosen, was my body double in Ballers.
I can't believe it.
Because you just said
I didn't
that I
know.
could body double for Jesus in The Chosen, but he actually body doubled for me in Ballers.
I always assumed you'd be a majestic luminescence.
Yeah, it opens up those alveoli,
But
those
we had never met until about
inhalers.
24 hours ago.
Yeah.
Do a good job.
And then as soon as I saw it, you had a cowboy hat on, so I didn't see the full Russell Brand. Now that I see the full Russell Brand, I say you should star in The Chosen, is what I said.
What?
And I had no idea that the actual actor that plays Christ in The Chosen was your body double. I did not know that.
Jonathan Rumi, I love him so much. He's been on the show. He's a fantastic person, and I love him very much. Now, this is one of the challenges I have, mate. Like, you know, I'm at the Republican National Convention. I'm not a person that's particularly associated with conservatism or republicanism. I detest the neoliberal establishment. Like, years ago, I'd have been talking about the Gulf War. I'd have been talking about Bush Cheney, Wolfowitz, all that kind of
Well, it
stuff.
depends
All
on
that
if it's a
crap
rescue
was
inhaler or if it's
entrenched
just a
within the
treatment
Republican
inhaler.
Party
There's a
system.
difference.
Here we are now, though, at the Republican National Convention. And I see that you are wearing, like, that
Yes.
image.
Parental advisory. This would be an album that I would have purchased when I was 18 and banged it really hard in my car to make my parents angry.
Have you always been a Republican, and have you never considered, because for me, Republicanism was always affiliated with conservatism, authoritarianism, control.
Yes.
And I wonder if you have had that perspective, what your perspective is on it, or whether, and how you think the ascent of Trump has altered the Republican movement,
Yes.
and what are the positives and negatives of that.
Yeah, the
change.
positives is that it's now officially a nationalist and populist party that puts America first, that does not want forever wars. In fact, the Republican Party of today would be exactly what you would have cheered for 2 decades ago. Bush Cheney, in fact, Liz Cheney is a Democrat now. So the Cheney family are Democrats. They've always been Democrats. Forever war is something that a globalist would want, right? And there's a reason why the 7 counties around Washington, D.C. are the richest counties in America. What exactly do they create? What exactly do they produce? They produce nothing but war. They produce chaos and horrors and murdering across the globe on behalf of a...
I didn't know you had to go to the hospital.
They view themselves
That's
as
nuts, man.
the authoritarians of it. And it's evil, and it's wrong. And that is the only industry, and it's a monopoly on violence that D.C. has. And it's despicable. We stand against that. Donald Trump's the only person that stopped wars in my lifetime, certainly as president, and began ending wars, including, but not limited to, going to a nation that we were at war with. So we're currently at war with North Korea. There was never cessation.
I didn't even actually know that.
So the Korean War was never solved,
I didn't
right?
know
There was
there was
never
a
a
war.
peace treaty. America is technically at war with North Korea right now, and so Donald Trump goes walking. Are you winning? I think no one's winning. But
no
we
one
did.
wins.
We did win. I think everyone won when Donald Trump stepped into North Korea, invited by the leader that we're technically at war with, and he claps him on the back, and they hug his bros on the DMZ, and that is a beautiful moment. That's an incredible human moment that we could all celebrate. And what does centralized establishment Washington D.C. do to the man who brought peace in my lifetime to America? They
Is
tried
it
to kill him.
albuterol?
I mean, they just tried to kill him. They've tried to assassinate him in every way
Midwest?
possible that they can.
And you're saying that you consider that to be the maneuver
Okay,
that's
yeah.
ultimately emanated
Yeah,
from
albuterol,
the
that's awesome. That's a good
Democrats'
rescue
Party.
inhaler.
Honestly, wow, man. I mean, that's what, because of all the anomalies and extraordinary aspects of it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, they need their industry to continue. They need their monopoly to continue. And if you stop war,
They have those around
to
here.
restrain power and say America first. Let's
Just
send our
the
treasure.
IVs are just like vitamins and stuff.
Spoiling our treasure in some desert somewhere. What's our greatest?
Fucking Joe Rogan talks about them all the time.
But also $35 trillion in debt. I'm not exactly sure how that's sustainable.
Doesn't seem sustainable. And also
Actually,
the emergence of this
I mean, there
BRICS financial
Wasn't much money in it.
further
They, I
perhaps
don't think the
expedite
friend of mine's wife opened one.
of the globe and
He's got
prohibit, limit and diminish American power, meaning
some
that
money,
the
but her
military
dad is
power
the
of
owner of
America
Marco's
will-
Pizza.
will soon be its only really
So she's
facility.
ventured in a couple of different
Do you remember
businesses, and
when
that was one of them. I don't think it's still even open
The
anymore.
Democrat Party, if as you say, they're the party of warmongering and death, have PR'd themselves into we exist to primarily help the vulnerable. That's how they're pitching it, isn't it?
Yeah.
How have they pulled that off?
How can you do that? I'm not sure. Joe Biden started at least 3 wars, and or overseen them.
Which
and then
ones?
The Ukraine war,
Yeah.
right?
Bad.
So the war in Gaza.
Yes,
Okay.
bad.
So he's accelerated that, obviously.
Fucking
Yes.
13K?
Not
Jesus,
nation
bud.
there. And right now China is encircling Taiwan, and there
All those military
there are
bases.
people that are dying in the
Oh,
Taiwan
no.
Straits. There are people that are being captured, and people. So it's the accelerant right there in that region also is happening, and this is all happening. There's also multiple wars going on in Africa right now, and we don't tend to care as much about those.
Yeah,
But
put
nonetheless,
3 zeros
he's brought
behind that.
peace, He's brought war, and I guess if you look at the actual moral value of a leader, ask yourself that question. Like, especially if you call yourself a Christian, are you bringing peace or are you bringing war? Are you bringing death and suffering upon innocent children, or are you bringing war? One of the biggest problems that liberals have is they love their Lord and Savior.
Nothing is a reasonable price with those big trucks,
Famously,
man.
a drone struck an American citizen, a young teenager named Anwar al-Awlaki, without a trial, and killed that poor
Definite money
American
pits.
teenager in Yemen, and he signed off on that order. And so you have to ask yourself the question: which is the party of peace and love and kindness towards humanity, and which is the party of war and death and destruction?
Well, what's interesting is in all likelihood there's going to be a Republican victory.
Oh, I was going to ask you about the
I wonder
AC.
if this rhetoric will be able to be sustained once the Republicans are in power, and if they will govern peacefully.
Took a new compressor, huh?
Isolated instances like that, which are obviously appalling and disgusting. As are the deaths by
This guy's keeping his space now with me, behind me. It's the same dude back there.
I watched this PBS documentary on Obama prior to Obama. I think
Man, it's
he might have been a senator.
missing a ton of chat.
This is 20 years old. It's like, there's this guy, Barack
I got
Obama.
another phone out.
And what's really interesting about the
It's like every other chat is
you
missing.
see in this story, which is not the kind of polished propaganda that we are accustomed to in 2024, a kind of a person that is indeed filled with hope and in bullshit. Happens to people. Do you think that, like, in the same way as, like I say, within Hollywood, the raw material is people with talent or abilities or aspects of their nature that could become commodities? You perhaps are beautiful, or you're funny, or you're clever. Do you think politics, people like Barack Obama might come in that are actually rather lovely, idealistic, great orators and communicators? They get sucked into this system and intoxicated not only with power, but some sort of commodity or quality of genuine people with ideals into something a little more repugnant.
Yeah, so I call it the ghost machine paradox. So the ghost machine is the creature that actually runs the machine, and it tries as hard as it can to be invisible. But the ghost in our machine, as the American public, is the permanent, entrenched, parasitic class inside of Washington, D.C. that remains there forever, and is not able to be put into check.
Come on, we're barely doing the speed limit in the fast.
They're permanently. They're protected by law. They're protected by unions. They're protected by public sector unions, which should be illegal, and they cannot be removed. They are the barnacles on the bottom of the shipboard. Have you ever seen a Nature Channel show with those majestic, beautiful, large fish, and there's always these suckers on the bottom of them? There's always these parasite fish on the bottom that remain attached to the big, beautiful whale or shark that is through the ocean. That's our political class, and they suck, and they drain, and they destroy. And when someone like Barack Obama, and it's really interesting because there's so many people that could be enraptured by Barack Obama's initial rhetoric. Here's this beautiful United States of America, and he said, in Colorado, with all those beautiful columns, you probably know the people who built them. They were built by Hollywood. He said, there's no red America, there's no blue America, there's just the United States of America. And even someone like me, who was forced to choke down John McCain in that election, based on the fact that I was the college Republican chair of my state.
You've always been into this.
I've come from a political family. Yeah.
Do you?
Oh yeah, my parents were political activists. Yeah.
Yeah, because you
So you get baptized in it. I'm also from Iowa. There's nothing else to do.
just be a Republican activist.
Pigs, corn, and politics.
Pigs, corn, Republican activist.
Politics, that's right. Type 2 diabetes. And so Barack Obama says rhetoric like that, and it's like, man, how can you disagree with that? You can't. That's beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote that. And then the difference between that and President Trump, who also has some very wonderful rhetoric about the nature and fabric of this nation, is that Trump follows through on that. Barack Obama got to D.C. and immediately was
gonna go to Dairy Queen. Get a
Fish inside of your tank.
chicken strip.
Good price for these fish. Every time you bring them up, you got a bit mad. Don't think about those fish. Benny, stop it.
Parasites.
They're not really.
They are terrible. They were bit by a leech. They're awful.
They're bastards.
They're parasites,
They're like-
and they took him over, and he became a tool, an instrument of establishment DC, and it cannot be stated enough. And I'm a very simple man. I think I have a room temperature IQ, and
Drive through Dairy Queen.
but even I can understand that there's a single-ended. Why is Washington so rich? Why is it right there on the map? There's no it's a swamp. It's a literal swamp. There's no nature. There's no geographic.
I think this is it.
Reason to have any industry there. There's no natural resources. It's a filthy, disgusting place. It's rat infested.
Oh, shit.
Why is
Wrong
it so
exit.
rich? Why? Because there's one industry, and that is Forever War, and the printing press that creates the Forever War. And
I'll just copy you a right here. No, it's probably not
by those people. And
legal.
The psychological warfare. And as soon as he was losing in 2012, they told him, you know what? That whole red state, blue state, bullshit you were talking about. No, it's better to just say there's white America and there's black America. And
Oh, shit,
Trayvon
it's the
Martin
other
would
way.
have been my son.
What the fuck's going on?
The only way you're going to win is actually to start pitting
I guess we ain't
people
going.
against each other. And
It is that
instead
way.
of running
Fuck.
around unifying afterbirth of Barack Obama making
we
that
ain't gonna fuck
decision,
with it.
which was centrally organized by the establishment powers in DC to tear our nation apart, and we're living in that right now.
Good. I mean, you're very passionate about this. As well as the sucker fish. The sucker fish. And that kind of crowd. Madison will be.
He knows.
You'll be on.
Madison
Surely, won't you,
knows.
mate? Hold on, I've got a few questions to ask you, Benny. These are them.
Madison knows DC parasites better than almost any man.
Flamethrower.
I'm very aware of some of the parasitical sucking activity that's been described by Madison. He has described some of the parasitical sucking.
We're not even talking about the Clinton presidency.
Can I just say, hold on, mate, I've got a couple of questions. Here they because of the 2008 quantitative easing year, when he backed financial industries that are ordinary American people, and that of course had ramifications all the way around the globe. But given that you're a lifelong Republican, and I'm asking you this in like a legitimate way, you understand that about me, I'm trying to learn it, if you're like a lifelong Republican, what do you think about all that Iraq war and the very, when it was pretty plain that the Republicans were in the business of war, how do you calibrate that with your partisanship and
Of course, there's only one honest way that any honest man should do that, which is to denounce George W. Bush.
denounce
I denounce it, and I denounce that policy. The neocon is the worst thing that has ever happened to the Republican Party, and through an exorcism, a literal exorcism, we have killed it. In fact, this convention is where neoconism has gone to die.
And now a word from our partners, Coca-Cola. No, Pepsi. No, it's not both of them. It's actually AirsTech, the world's only scientifically proven electromagnetic field protection chip trusted by experts. AirsTech is now, can you believe this, an official partner of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC, giving support for world-class athletes who want to safeguard themselves from excessive electromagnetic radiation. We're all going to want that protection soon.
What?
Elite athletes within the UFC are unique in their need to optimize their performance in 25-minute bursts. AirsTech understand the importance of optimal recovery at peak performance, trusted and used by pro athletes all around the world to elevate their game. EMF recover faster and perform at their best, and wouldn't we all benefit from that? I know that I would. I keep this one device here, it's protecting me from that, it's protecting me from a whole lot of things. Get out Russian hackers. Go to airsTech.com/pages/Russell-brand, there's a link, and use the code Russell30 for 30% off. So click the link under this and use the code
Ryan on stage. We don't have a single member chosen to be the vice president. Went into fight time.
I love it.
Because as you've probably found yourself perhaps in the UK as well, which is a nation with many veterans, the people who hate the war the most are the ones who see it up close. And the ones who served.
May I ask this then, Benny? If there's some purge and transformation taking place, because as you have described, there are various movements that are secondary, ulterior, and you've used the phrase phantom to describe the bureaucratic class that remain in power regardless of any party change. It seems that what you're describing are movements, ulterior movements that pass-through parties and captured it for a while, and the neocon movement was one such. But I have felt that this Republican National Convention, as well as the kind of almost celebratory resurrectionist euphoria around
Chopper!
given recent events, that it still, for me, it has the shellac that I sense
Welcome,
around
buddy.
most, political movements and institutions. This reverence and near.
Yeah, you caught the end.
You know that these people are in a sense.
I saw your comments on the other video.
That power has got something. Corrupting.
The youngins aren't going to know who that is,
power.
man.
Do you feel that this is a Republican Party movement that can deliver on any Christian's priority beyond personal salvation and a relationship with our Lord and Saviour? Serve the poor, love the poor, protect the Democrat.
Yes.
Do you envisage that the Republican Party will serve that agenda and those ideals?
The Democrat Party says that, while the real power is, and I hate to paraphrase Schindler's List of all things, but there's a line in there where it's like, you know, the Nazi's about to shoot someone, and he's advised that real power is actually not taking the shot.
Yeah.
Real power is giving life.
Yeah.
And real power is like allowing for people
Ciao, Mr. Squirrel.
to live and to step away from power. In fact, our first president named George Washington,
I remember him, yeah.
that everybody wanted to be a king.
Tree on the money.
They all said make him a king, right? And he stepped away after 2 terms, and that became then a tradition in America. That's where it comes from. He steps away after 2 terms, and he does this declaration in his final speech. He says, "Don't get entangled. Do not waste this country's treasure in foreign entanglements." He said he warned the
Scuba tanks.
warned against foreign wars. George Washington.
I've obviously seen and heard some of that kind of commentary. What I wonder is where you believe those ideals, the Christian ideals that you just described, where the potential for them to play out in bureaucracies or systems of government is a real one, Benny, and where you think that the secularism is correct. Because my fear is that what's happened, that the emergence of the authoritarianism that's based on compassion is ultimately undergirded by a kind of godlessness that's not entirely nihilistic, but is entirely rationalistic. It has placed man at the apex of creation. It has placed the humankind, the human mind, the human purview, which can be voided of all ideals derived from the sublime.
It looks like it's working now. I unplugged it,
for new
so at least it's
agenda
not
to emerge. Oh, this is what nature
heating up
is.
the battery.
This is what we can create. Oddly though, archetypes of the apocalypse and saints do seem
Yeah, the air conditioner's blowing right on it.
somehow. This particular saint,
It's not even that hot.
kind of a Gaia deity will
First time
emerge.
I've seen that
the
warning.
idea of the apocalypse finds its way back in. They have their own peculiar pantheon of the demonic. So I'm extraordinary. I'm fascinated by it, and I condemn it. It is a revolting system of ideology. It's disgusting, like you said. I cast it out.
Yeah,
I cast it out. I disavow it.
I
That was the
disavow. You
phrase.
can find a photo of me from 20 years ago in a John McCain shirt. It's so embarrassing, and I'm so humiliated by it. And it's embarrassing actually.
But
we're allowed to fix ourselves as free men.
We can't continue to bring you this beautiful content without the support of our partners. Field of Greens could be the key to a good health future for you. It's not like any other green product out there where it's just watered down extracts. With Field of Greens you get an organic superfood, whole fruits and vegetables selected by legit doctors that care.
I do AG1, not Field of Greens. I gotta pick up the doggy from the wife too. She's gotta go to the BMV. Stop here temporarily. or run across the street. All right, guys. At least it came back on before stream ended. I'll see you guys later. I'll probably stream again, heading home or whatnot. See about tonight. Maybe some poker or something. Peace.